We're accelerating economic growth and creating more opportunities for our young people. We've restored business confidence and have seen a significant increase in both domestic and foreign direct investment. We've restored Ghana's credibility with our international partners, successfully completed the renegotiation of our debt obligations on terms that protect our sovereignty while at the same time ensuring sustainability. We're beginning the process of exiting the IMF program with dignity, not as supplicants, but as partners. We are one people with a shared destiny. Whether you voted for me or not, whether you supported the NDC or not, we are all Ghanaians. And this reset is for all of us. There's no NPP Ghana, there's no CPP Ghana, or NDC Ghana. There's only one Ghana. That Ghana our forebears fought for and shed their blood to give us our freedom. Let us reject the politics of division and embrace the patriotism of nation building. Let us disagree without being disagreeable. Let us compete in the marketplace of ideas without treating our opponents as our enemies. The challenges that we face are too urgent, and the opportunities before us are too precious for us to waste our time and energy in needless conflict. 1 year ago, we inherited a nation in distress, an economy on its knees, unemployment crushing our youth, infrastructure crumbling, public trust eroded, and hope dimming in the eyes of our people. We're told that the recovery would take a generation, but I knew something our critics did not know. I knew the resilient spirit of the Ghanaian people. At the dawn of the new year, I stand before you to say, our beloved nation Ghana is rising again. We've accomplished a lot together in the past 12 months through prudent management and difficult but necessary reforms. We've reduced inflation from the distressing levels above 23% by the end of 2024 and are hopeful to end 2025 with inflation at single digits of just above 5%. We have achieved relative currency stability and on track to be ranked among the best performing currencies in the world for 2025. We're accelerating economic growth and creating more opportunities for our young people. We've restored business confidence and have seen a significant increase in both domestic and foreign direct investment. We've restored Ghana's credibility with our international partners, successfully completed the renegotiation of our debt obligations on terms that protect our sovereignty while at the same time ensuring sustainability. We're beginning the process of exiting the IMF program with dignity, not as supplicants, but as partners. Our young people are Ghana's greatest assets. We're beginning to see significant growth in sectoral performance. Construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and services are showing very strong growth. This is creating a new opportunity for decent employment for our youth. Infrastructure is the backbone of development. We have begun the rehabilitation of over 2,000 kilometers of roads nationwide. We've restored a consistent supply of electricity and are expanding the rural electrification network to more than 1,000 additional communities.
Notwithstanding the improved macroeconomic stability, a lot has happened since 7th December 2024, and I know many of us continue to reflect on it every day. I congratulate President John Dramani Mahama on his first year in office, and I sincerely wish him well in the discharge of his mandate. The Ghanaian people have bestowed a sacred trust on him, and he cannot afford to fail them. I therefore urge him to continue to guard jealously the peace, stability, and unity of our nation. Ghana has always stood out as a beacon in a region that has seen too much turmoil and instability. The foundation President Mahama inherited was solid in many ways. It is imperative that we build on it and not let it slip. I say this because this matters more now than ever. You may have heard about the results of the 2025 Global Peace Index. Ghana has dropped 6 places to 61st in the world and from 4th to 7th in sub-Saharan Africa. They point to growing security worries and pockets of unrest in the country. Again, one of Ghana's greatest strengths since the inception of the Fourth Republic has been the independence and credibility of our democratic institutions.
He's not the flag.
Yes, it's not.
So you heard, first you heard John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana. Then you also heard Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He is a former Vice President who is seeking to lead the New Patriotic Party. Later this month, that election will be taking place for the party to determine who will be its flag bearer. Thank you for staying with us here on New Day on TV3. It's time for Big Issue. This morning we are focusing on what to expect from government this year. I mean, we've all had various conversations about the performance of His Excellency the President in the last 12 months. In actual sense, he will be exactly 1 year next week. I think that should be Tuesday, Wednesday, there about 7th January. Will be exactly 1 year since he took office, and already a lot of you have been sharing your views on what you make of his performance. But the question or the discussion this morning was centered around what are your expectations going into this particular new year. We know that there are key government projects that we expect to take off, like the big push. I made reference to it earlier on about the state of our roads. We've seen some good work that is taking place in various parts of the country, but there are still lots of areas that are in dire need of roads. I mean, if you come to the Kwabenya, Shoman areas, the roads are terrible. If you ask any Ghanaian anywhere, they would all point to some road somewhere that is not in good state. And that begs the question of how almost all governments boast about constructing roads, but every point in time in our national electoral cycle, we still see citizens complain about roads. And then people will tell you that, well, maybe we are not maintaining the roads well, such that even before we construct them elsewhere, the ones that we've already done get deteriorated, and those who were enjoying those ones also make demands for new routes. And so those are all issues of concern that we'll delve into this morning. But the president's speech gave us a sense of what he intends to do. He admits and states quite clearly that he believes that the first year took off on a tough note, but his government was able to restore the state of the economy, particularly issues surrounding the cedi inflation rate, which he makes the point about how we'll be achieving record low in terms of how things have been in the last couple of years. Then talks about the need to improve the conditions of living for Ghanaians, entrepreneurship, they need to create jobs, among others. And so all those are issues of concern that we'll be delving in this morning. And joining me in the studio to help with the discussion this morning, Sofo Tanko Rashid Computer is the CEO of GIFEC. He's joined us this morning. Good morning. Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Once again.
Thank you. Great.
Next to him, Kwame Jantua. Kwame Jantua is a legal practitioner, a member of the Convention People's Party, an energy analyst as well. Senior, Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How was your Christmas?
It was spent largely here in the office, so but it was good.
You rested too, didn't you? You had time to rest.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
2026 is going to be explosive. So get ready.
Next to Kwame Jantua is Ebo Bakman. Ebo Bakman is Deputy Communication Director for the United Party. Ebo, thank you for joining us as always.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here, you know.
Absolutely. I want us to start the conversation this way. Let's look at it in two parts. I think we should begin by trying to assess the last 12 months very very briefly, very directly. Let's pick on what we think has been the good performance and what we think are the sticky areas. Let me start with Ebo. right next to me, and that could maybe form the basis for us to project into the new year. I mean, what for you would you say has been the performance of Mr. Mahama? Which parts are good? Which parts do you think needs to be worked on a bit more?
Yeah, but before that, indulge me to greet my people of Cape Coast and also remind them that 2020 we were promised harbour and airport. And the harbour and airport, Dr. Bawumia promised. He lied to us. We didn't see any airport and harbour in Cape Coast. Lest we forget the people of Cape Coast. And let me also, yesterday I met some fantastic human beings, 4 of them. I can't go without mentioning them. And Joseph, Charles, Samson, Duho, then Louis Fiagbe. I met them yesterday. They were fantastic human beings, and I think we need more of their kind. This morning, I know you are traveling to Georgia. I wish you safe travels. Go and come, so that we continue our friendship and we have more things to do this year. Last year, to be able to appreciate what this government has done, we need to understand even the situation before last year. Because it's only when you understand the situation before last year that you'll be able to appreciate the kind of effort, the kind of achievement the government was able to chalk last year. The economy was in shambles at a point in time. The macroeconomic environment was toxic. I mean, the private sector was so much suffocated. And so people were even having doubt as to whether the economy could be brought to a level that would be good for all of us. People predicted that it would take us a long time for us to have stability in the economy. But thank God, last year, because of the good work of the president himself, Atufosin, Governor Siama, and Sami Jemfi, you've been able to stabilize the economy. I mean, to have inflation drop from 23.8% to 6.3%, I mean, this is fantastic achievement. It's not something that you can decide not to acknowledge. It is so obvious that in terms of macroeconomic stability, the government has done so well. So we need to applaud them for that. One other area that I think the government has also done well, but we have a long way to go, is the government's commitment to fight against corruption. I believe that is also a good sign. The president, if you listen to the things he said last year, even yesterday, so he reiterated the fact that whatever money that has been stolen belongs to Ghanaians, and therefore we need to recover every cedi that belongs to Ghanaians. So that commitment has also been very encouraging, that we have a president who is prepared to fight against corruption, unlike the previous government who sat aloof for his own people to loot this country as if there were no tomorrow. So you could see, yes, my interest is mainly in the area of the economy. Because, you see, I've always said this, that when a government fails, nobody should wish any government to fail in terms of the management of the economy. Because once a government fails, the effect, the consequences on the people are dire. People suffer. Cost of living shoot up, standard of living falls. I mean, people suffer. And so for us to have the kind of stability we have, for me, once again, we need to appreciate and commend those who made it possible. Galamsey, I think once again, the government made a lot of effort. NIMO's fantastic job so far. But I believe you have a long way to go. As for Galamsey, if we move from 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, we still have a long way to go. Because the news we hear every now and then, even though we hear the positives in terms of what the kind of work NIMOS is doing, we continue to hear the negatives. For example, 3 days ago, we were told even the reclaimed lands are not safe now because those areas that people planted cassava, yes, it has come up that the cassavas are, if you like, we have cyanide and other heavy metals in those cassavas. It means we don't know where you are getting your cassava from. And so it is still a matter of great concern that we should fight the galamsey like never before. I think, all in all, I think the government did so well last year because last year was all about stabilizing the economy. That is all that they needed to do. And once we've been able to do that, moving forward, of course, we need to consolidate the stabilization and also to ensure that we expand the economy to employ more people. That is what we are going to discuss. I mean, so my view, if I'm to mark the government 1 to 10 in terms of what was done last year, in terms of stability, I can boldly give the government 9 over 10. Oh yes, because we needed stability so badly. I mean, can you imagine the exchange rate at the time? I mean, look at the interest, even interest rate, issue of interest rate. Private sector was borrowing at 35 to 40%. And how could your private sector be competitive with this kind of interest rate? So for them to have brought interest rate down, now I'm told between 18 to 22%. So interest rate coming down, the CD gaining strength, the dollar dropping and having that stability in the exchange rate is very significant. And also inflation. People don't know inflation is a thief. Inflation steals from our pockets. And once you're able to bring inflation down, it means at least purchasing power will have strength. People's purchasing power will have strength. And so government has done well. We expect, were you in Legon?
Yes.
Yeah, to whom much is given?
Kwimutu that.
Yeah, Kwimutu that. To whom much is given, much is expected. Ghanaians gave them 1.7 million difference. And so much is expected. And so far, 1 year, I think they've done fantastically well. What we need them to do is to translate the stability into something else, something that will benefit a lot of Ghanaians in terms of job creation, in terms of other things. So, so far, I would say so very good.
Let me come to you, Rashid Computer, and then, I mean, for a party in government, 7th January 2025, when His Excellency was sworn in, did you expect things to go how they have gone so far as you are concerned?
Let me say good morning to my colleagues.
Morning.
And then you yourself. And to the good people of Bimbilla constituency. We lost one of our warrior chiefs in Jilo, Adu, Chief Adu. In fact, very old man. That's why, I mean, his age, that's why he died yesterday. I wish our people well. And then our condolences to the bereaved family. We'll join them very soon to celebrate his life in Bimbilla, especially Jilo, a community adjacent to Bimbilla. Akable, some of us, we are not surprised at all at the performance of this government. We are not surprised. We knew it was going to happen. And so when we're presenting His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to the good people of Ghana in 2024, because we knew he has a benefit of hindsight. Don't forget, be the vice president and the president for 4 years. He sat back and saw how reckless this country was being run after he left office, 8 years. So there was no way he was going to come and have the same problems that led us to lose the 2016 election. There was no way. He had learned his lessons, albeit in the bitter way, because losing election is not a small thing. After doing a lot for the country within the short period of 3 years, you don't forget, he ran the country just 3 years. These people dragged us in court for 1 year, 2013, 2012, 2013, all that. 8 months in court. So when we left and he sat back, watched them, 8 years, how reckless they ran the country aground completely. We knew we're in for a business with the same gentleman that sat in the Flagstaff House for 3 years, 3.5 years as a president. And you saw how the victory was, very sweet victory. Because we made sure that we policed the system, we sold our message, the research agenda message, what we intend doing. to transform the country, reset the whole sector of the economy. And the mind of Ghana, look, I have been following my good brother. Thankfully, he's seated here. Lawyer Gentua, he's been talking of let's reset our minds. Our problem in this country is our mindsets. And we needed to reset that one. And so when we came in, clearly, within the shortest possible time, 14 days, he was able to form a cabinet. Unprecedented. Unprecedented. Since 92, we've been part and parcel of the process. We've seen it all. Sometimes it will take a government up to June before it can even set up the government. But within 14 days, the government was set. We promised that we're going to use 60 ministers. But he ended up, at that time, using less than 60 ministers because 2 ministries, he hadn't appointed them. And the later part that he added a 2 to make it 60. Then unfortunate incident happened in August. SIF, when we lost my boss, Omaniboama, may he rest in perfect peace, and others. Then, as we speak now, we are still running 58 ministers. It has never happened. Look at the elephantine government that we're running. That led us to where we are. You remember inflation rose up to 54%. And they asked us to shut up, that they were doing well and other things. And they tried to blame COVID and Ukraine war. As we speak now, Ukraine, they are still, bullets are still flying, bombs are still dropping all over Ukraine. But today, inflation is 6%. 6%. That's what my good brother was talking about. Prudent economic management. We have the slimmest government since Nkrumah days. Since Kwame Nkrumah left, we've never had this type of government again. The slimmest government that you can think of. The government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has reset the minds of his appointees to the extent that the resources under your care is for the good people of Ghana, not you and your family. Every appointee, anybody who has a green letter, were made to understand that this green letter you are taking to that office, the resources in that office doesn't belong to you and your family. It belongs to the good people of Ghana. Manage it prudently so that they can get the benefit from your office. That is why we ended the year without any scandal. Have you seen any scandal? One year in office. It has never happened. It was only Kwame Nkrumah time we have this kind of clean government. Very clean, soft government that went and made sure that the people benefited a lot. We had a lot of industry, roads, factories were built all over the place within the shortest possible time. Okay, now we have a reincarnated Kwame Nkrumah government is back. And that for 1 year in government, not even a single scandal in any of the agencies, ministry, department, none. It has never happened. Because of the reset that he told them. And he made sure that the resources are going. There is a close collaboration between the fiscal policy and then the monetary aspect, which is Bank of Ghana and then Finance Ministry. And the game changer came from the Gold Board. The Gold Board came in, led by Sami Jaffe, to make sure that we derive the benefit therein, in our natural resources, these mineral resources and all that we have gotten. And it's helping the economy. That is where we are. And you see that these people, instead of them to go back and reset their party, the MPP, I always look at them. And I'm not surprised, for 30 years, Ghanaians made sure that they were in opposition. When they overthrew Kwame Nkrumah in 1966 and had that botched election and brought themselves into power in 69, you saw what Achampon did to them. Since Achampon sacked them, nobody allowed them to come near the seat of government until 2000.
I mean, but to be fair, I mean, if you pick from, so after Achampon 72, if you do, we barely had elections, with the exception of the Liman period.
But we had elections. They were
I mean, the Liman period.
Liman was just a fresh person coming from Sorbonne University.
Yes.
Who knew Liman in Ghana?
Yeah, but I'm saying that outside of that election.
And I'm saying that outside that because Ghanaians
yeah, because outside of that, because you are making reference to the long spread. If you go, because if you I mean, it's historical accuracy. Because if you take the Achampon truncation in 72, that period, 72 all the way to 79, with the exception of the Liman election, Then the next one that took place was in the 92. So it meant that the only opportunity for them to have contested the election was in 92, which they obviously lost. So, I mean, that's you agree to that, right?
You see, what I'm trying to refer to, you allow our history students to understand this, that from 72 all the way to 79, no, 79, you are talking about the 79 election.
Yes.
Leman was in Sorbonne University studying. He was not a politician in Ghana. Nobody knew Leman. All those who contested the 79 election were seasoned politicians, ministers in 69, 72. Is that not true?
It's very true.
High-level politicians.
My father's part and parcel of it, so it was true.
And somebody just came. He was going to be an MP because this man, Igala was disqualified.
Yes.
That's why they brought him. Igala proposed him, he should come. Leave your MPship and come and be a presidential candidate. And he beat on Victor Uso and all these seasoned former foreign minister and all these people. That tells you that Ghanaians were not interested in them.
Okay.
They knew who they are. And that's why they say, you be in opposition. And anytime they are in opposition, Ghana develops. That's a fact. Anytime they are there, because they are interested in press conferences and creating stories that doesn't exist. They just created some funny story just about from 1 week ago. And it splashed on their face about this Bauer resort or what gold thing they were talking of. A company that existed since 2012. These people came and said the company was just incorporated some 2 weeks ago. Can you imagine MPP? That's the kind of people we are dealing with. So, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is on top of the job. His appointees so far so good, have done well. We have not recorded any incident whatsoever. And I'm saying that this year, 2026, we are yet to go into there. It's going to be an exciting year of action. And he's keeping his eye on all facets of our life, what is going on. And the most important thing is the stability everybody is talking about. The country has been stabilized to the extent that people can even go midnight to go and do demonstration at the Flagstaff House. Your neighbors. 8 years, could you step foot even daytime? The cannons they will bring over there to chase you away and other things. Now they go there.
Okay.
Everybody go there. It's like a chief palace. You know, in our rural areas, everybody will go to the chief palace. You don't need any ticket to go to the chief palace. Okay, he has made governance to be like our own traditional way of governance. That everybody have access to governance, the seat of government. That is what we are talking about. We are incorporating governance into our traditional and culture so that people will understand that they are part and parcel of the governance system. And that is why when His Excellency visits a traditional setting or a function being invited by the traditional authority, he doesn't go there with his own chair. He goes there and sits with on the chairs that they also have there. Unlike others, a whole V8 will have to carry one chair from one place to another. He doesn't sit in. And even chiefs were asked to stand up and greet him. Have you ever seen that? For the 1 year we have been in office, have you ever seen any chief? I remember His Excellency visited one traditional day, and the chief was trying to get there, say, oh yeah, Master, I beg you, sit down. That is not part of us.
Okay.
This is a well-trained person from a home where we respect traditional authority. And it's part and parcel of our government structure. That is why we are enjoying the fruit of our labor as a people in this country. And then so, Akablea can assure you, the 2025 has been a very exciting resetting. We have reset part and parcel of our lifestyle in the country. It is now how we implement the reset that thing we have done for 2025. This 2026, that you will see a level of progress that we are going to bring, because we are going to exit the IMF thing this year. He said it yesterday in his speech, very beautiful speech, one of the beautiful speeches so far delivered by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama yesterday. And we've seen it. Ghanaians are applauding him for that speech, that we are in the process. And we will make sure that we stabilize everything so that we will not need to go back to IMF again. If we continue the prudent nature of the way we manage this economy for the 2025, I don't think exiting IMF will be any problem to Ghanaians. And it won't, I can assure you.
I mean, if you have to score the president over 10, what would your mark be?
You see, I wouldn't have said 10 over 10, but I can give ourselves 9.5.
9.5.
over 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know why I've seen 9.5.
What has taken a 0.5 away?
Oh, but this press conference people have forced some Ghanaians to believe that things are a bit difficult. Don't you hear his speech? He's saying that that parents are finding it difficult to take care of themselves. Which parents? Is it MPP parents he's referring to?
Okay. All right.
That's what they are talking of. That's why I said, okay, for the benefit of the doubt, we can give ourselves 5.5. And then let
9.5.
And then 9.5. We are giving ourselves 9.5 so that the MPP can take the 5% because of their press conferences that they are doing.
Okay, let me come to Mr. Jantua first. Mr. Jantua, I mean, same question. Let's start off with the performance so far before later on we'll delve into 2026.
Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Good morning to yourself.
Good morning.
Assemblyman, Deputy Minister, Minister, Parliamentarian, Vice President, President, goes into opposition, comes back as President. The journey of President Mahama. This entire journey is showing the experience he has. The understanding at every level is showing the experience he has. No president in this country has gone into opposition and come back. Name. My own beloved Nkrumah. Once he was unfortunately horned out by these same MPP people, couldn't come back to this country. And I believe if Nkrumah had come back, this country would have even blossomed more than when he started. So the experience of President Mahama is creating what we are seeing today, because he has been in all the facets of governance, from assemblyman. How many presidents in this country have been assemblymen? Name.
None comes to mind.
None comes to mind. And it shows the depth of his understanding of the problems of this country. He came in, everything he did, ditto, ditto, ditto. His cabinet, his economic dialogue, his this, his that, ditto, ditto, ditto. Has he deviated from what he promised us so far in this last year? Tell me if he has. Yes, one or two things he said, he has gone back on it, but probably there was a reason. And I give an example of when he indicated that those who have reached retirement, they do not have the right to come back. But we saw him bring back the IGP. So for me, that was a question mark there. But apart from that, tell me what it is that he hasn't been able to fulfill. And opposition people will tell you, and when I say opposition people, I mean the main opposition party will tell you, oh, he has taken how many ministers? 60, eh? Is it 60?
Currently 58. Currently 58 now.
58.
Yeah.
But go to the other areas, Parliament, what do you call it? Flagstaff House. He has put so many people there. Is it happening? Didn't it happen in the past government? It happened. For me, I think he's been able to steady the ship that was listless. What he came to meet, the challenges Ghanaians were going through. But one thing should be very clear to all of us. Don't the people seem to have confidence in what he's doing? And when you feel that confidence, you can judge that going forward, things are going to change. And let me give you an example of what I mean. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Was it last week? Was it last week? Yeah, I think it was last week. The finance minister made a significant payment of $709 million to towards Ghana's Eurobond obligation on December 30th, 2025. This payment brings the total Eurobond repayments made in 2025 to about 1.4 billion. Was the time up for him to make those payments? But he's made it. What does that give you? It gives you confidence that you have a government that can move this ship forward. However, it's just one day. It's just one year. Going forward, he needs to be able to make sure that the appointees he's put in place will stick to the vision he has. Because once that starts tilting, it creates problems for him. And he has to be the headmaster who can crack the whip when he needs to crack the whip, especially in terms of making sure that the economy stays the right path. We cannot afford anything to go amiss. Yes, we've extended the IMF date. Is it by how many months?
We are hoping to get 3 months extension.
We are hoping to get 3 months extension. Yeah. And I'm sure he would give us a tangible reason why. Look, this adoption of what do you call those conferences you have? Is it a responsibility conference? The one that the ministers come in. Accountability series. Yeah. Is that not informing the people? Informing the people. But you see, Akabe, the one thing, and I heard the NPP Deputy General Secretary talk about the fact that inflation has come down, this has come down, but prices are the same in the market. We, the people, have a responsibility. If the government is bringing these things down, inflation, exchange rate, we also have the responsibility to follow suit and bring prices down. Because at this current moment, when you look at where inflation is and look at the exchange rate, people are profiteering. Go to the markets. Prices are still the same. If we don't do our part to make sure that when these indices come down, we also follow suit, then it's going to be challenging and difficult for us. Hasn't food inflation come down? And because food inflation has come down, hasn't some aspects of food come down? Hasn't it affected inflation? It has. But we have a huge responsibility. It is not a one-sided thing. Government should do its part. We also should do our part. And if we are able to do our part by understanding where government is going through some of these press conferences, accountability press conferences they are making, it informs us, and we should also come on board to help government. Now, I won't say that the NDC government will stay forever or should stay forever. It's not possible. Definitely somewhere down the line, Ghanaians will change government. But the question I want to ask you, and when my brother was talking, it came to mind. When you look at the UP tradition, how many heads of states have we had from the UP tradition?
I mean, if you count the Buzia as Prime Minister, Edward Akufo-Addo, then the next one is Kufuor, then Nana Akufo-Addo.
Yes. Out of all of them, who was the one who was able to make Ghanaians feel there was a government on their side? For me, it's only President Kufuor. It's only President Kufuor. If you look at from J.B. Dankwa's time, chaos. Independence, chaos. J.B. Dankwa and co, chaos. They haven't really been able to prove to Ghanaians that they have us at will. They haven't been able to prove it. 2017, when President Akufo-Addo came in, we were all hopeful because of what we'd seen from what he'd said and how he'd handled himself in opposition. We were all hopeful. All hopeful. How did that turn out? As my father always used to tell me, Kwame, it's not the beginning, it's not the middle, it's how you end. Yeah. Did we end well? Did we end well as a country? And what made the cancer even worse was DDEP. Stealing from the people, taking from the people because of your own mistakes. So why did we put you there? We put you there to handle the finances of the country. Were you able to do it? Can we say the MPP in their last 8 years were able to handle the finances of this country? Tell me. Tell me. I hope, and this is a challenge for President Mahama, I hope, and it's also a challenge for us too, I hope and pray that once we come out of the IMF, we will be able to control spending. It's key. It's key. And I'd like to believe, looking at Attoforson today, and the way he's handling the finance ministry, I would like to believe that at this material moment, he's putting strategies together for that time when we end IMF. Because really and truly, we cannot go back to IMF in 2028, in 2032, in 2030, after 32 is what? 36. This should be the last point of IMF because we have the wherewithal to do it. Look, I keep saying gold, oil, cocoa. If we are able to add value to these three commodities, Ghana, all the other things are jara. Just these three. It can look after this country well into the next century. But we have to be able to do it well. We have to be able to add value. We have to be able to stop capital flight. It's key. And I hope and pray that once President Mahama is able to do what he's promised, even if he's able to do 50% of what he promised, the next person who takes over would be able to move this country even into better areas. There's one thing I would want President Mahama to do, which so far I haven't seen, although it's within the economy, is to have a national development plan. For me, it's key for me. For the kind of commodities we have, the kind of things we have in this country that can take care of us, it's only a plan that can strategize. And we have a template of it in President Nkrumah. President Nkrumah used a plan to develop this country. And I think a plan would be good, not a manifesto. A plan that we can all come together and collectively say, this plan we are all following. Like constitutional review. When the constitutional review now comes into force, will we not all follow it? Was it not done by Ghanaians? Same thing. The National Development Plan would have. Now, let me add one thing, and probably we'll go in there. Today we've seen tour work, which is a good thing. One of the challenges going forward would be feedstock, would be investment, and would be making sure that we can stop capital flight to refined petroleum products. We need to go and look at the PRMA and see how that PRMA would allow GMPC to give crude to Tor. We need to make sure that the gas pipeline that is being linked to Tema Oil Refinery to help them with their processes, their operations, should be finalized and gas should be made available to them so that we can cut the cost of refined products for the usage of operations at Tor. Tor, at this point, cannot go back to where it was. It has a competitor in Sentio, but I don't see it as competition. I see it as working together. And currently, Tor is a tolling facility where people can bring their crude in and they refine. Let us encourage BDCs to bring crude in, give it to Tor to refine, export into the sub-region, export into other parts. Here, somebody will tell you that Dangote has his big refinery there. Fair enough. It doesn't stop us from competing, no matter how small we are. And we should be able to increase our refined products as the years go on. Because what would it do? It helps all of us and it stabilizes the economy.
Let me come to Ebo now. And Ebo, I want us to talk a bit about the IMF. And this is a letter that the finance minister and the governor signed, wrote to the IMF December 2, 2025, and specifically paragraph 3 of the letter. It says, based on the strength of the policies outlined in this letter and the attached MEFP, we request completion of the 5th review. In view of the expiration of the ECF program in May 2026, an additional 3-month period will be required to enable completion of the final review of the program. Moreover, we request a modification of the nominal fiscal objectives, that is the primary balance and non-oil revenue at end March 2026, to reflect the macroeconomic developments having led to a lower nominal GDP projection. So basically, we are asking for 3 months to enable us to complete it. And there are those who monitor the IMF and Ghana relationship closely, and they make the point that if you pick 2017, for instance, the first year of Nana Akufo-Addo, and you pick the first year of His Excellency, in terms of the economic management, we see that very, very, very similar in terms of fiscal discipline, and they'll point to the role of the IMF in all of this. 2026 outlook, the IMF will be exiting. Even if we get a 3 months, they'll still be exiting. How should we approach things just to ensure that we don't end up like where we ended up in after 2020 as well?
I think so. Now we need to look at what to expect and what not to expect. I don't expect this government to repeat the mistakes of the previous government. Excessive borrowing. You know, if you look at the history very well, the economy of Ghana started even going down before we exited IMF because of reckless, spending and all that. Certainly, if you look at some of the expenditures we made and the MPP, how can you dig a hole with $97 million? Who does that? How can you be spending money like, if you don't have, you don't spend. But you want to spend beyond your means. And so therefore, you have to borrow in. And anytime you borrowed, your finance minister profited from it. So reckless borrowing, then economic mismanagement, I believe these are things that this government should not do. Certainly, what took us to the IMF was because of our recklessness. So I don't expect this government to repeat the mistakes of the previous government. What is important for us moving forward as a nation is how do we structure our economy to be able to resist, if you like, pressures, external pressures? How do we position the private sector, for example, to be more competitive? Because for me, the most important thing for us to do this year is job creation. And IMF will not help you to increase your job creation or to create more jobs for your people. IMF conditionalities will always contract your economy. But we need to do economic expansion. And that is why the private sector comes in. So how do we incentivize the private sector to be competitive? That is the most important thing we need to do this year. Go out there. 5, 6 years, 4 years graduates are still unemployed. They are still feeding from their mother's kitchen. And these are not good things for us. And so I believe we need to strategically have a regime, low cost of production regime in this country. We should be very conscious about it. How do we strategically and selectively support some investors in agriculture sector, in the industrial sector, to have interest rate of 5%. Why don't we create a special purpose vehicle to enable a certain class of investors in this country to have interest rate of 5%? Because elsewhere, if you go to Ivory Coast, interest rate is about 5%. Go to all other countries, in some of the countries in Africa, they operate single-digit interest rate, which means the Ghanaian who is now even getting 20 improved interest rate is not competitive out there. So what is important for us is to see that is why I still believe India did it some time ago, Brazil did it some time ago, that reserve requirement, the cash reserve ratio, the percentage of deposit that is kept to the Bank of Ghana, the money sits idle. It is good because we use it to control money supply and aggregate demand and all that to control inflation. But can't we as a nation think outside the box and say that instead of, let's say, deposit 20% of your, keep your 20% of your total deposit with central bank. Why don't you make it 10 and require the banks to use that 10% to give to specific producers in this country, maybe at an interest rate of about 5%. India has done it before. Brazil has done it before. We can do it. You see, it's only when the Ghanaian producer can produce at a lower interest rate, a lower electricity rate, costs, lower taxes, and other incentives. That is the only way the Ghanaian producer can be competitive out there. Because why? Goods are produced in anticipation of demand. So when, no matter how we add value, we preach about value addition at what cost? So the issue of cost of production should be the most important issue to address. Our economists in this country, the economic managers must sit down. It shouldn't be business as usual for a businessman to walk to the bank and take interest rate at 22% to produce what? Because what you are producing, somebody is bringing some from China. And Ghanaians will not buy out of nationality. We buy out of rationality. That my income is such that I have to look for cheap goods to buy. And so what is being brought from China, even Ivory Coast and other parts, if they are cheaper than what is being produced in Ghana, why should I buy Ghanaian products? Because I'm a Ghanaian? No. I will buy the foreign one because of rationality. So I think this year and moving forward as a nation, we should focus on how to bring down cost of production. If we can't do it across board, we can select certain companies, those who are into exports, those who are into import substitution. We can be selective and say that we are giving you interest rate. Government is going to guarantee interest rate of 5%. It should be possible that electricity bill, you are going to pay 50% of what you used to pay. Let's be intentional about it. That's the only way we can expand the economy, create more jobs for the youth to get jobs to do. The stability, I give the government 9/10. Fantastic work. What is left to be done? With or without IMF, what is left to be done is to expand the economy. And the private sector is the way to go. The government asks for, if somebody doesn't go to retirement, if somebody doesn't die, the public sector, no recruitment. Are you getting it? But with the private sector, if the businessman can expand his business, if he can export more, it means we need more hands. If he can produce to stop the Chinese, if we stop creating jobs in China and other parts of the world by importing their goods, if we can do it here in Ghana by making our producers competitive, I believe as a nation we'll go a long way. And that is why it is important to have the current finance minister. I've had interaction with Atos, the kind of things he say, and I've heard the governor also say the same thing. Their focus is to make interest rate a single digit in this country. That is where we need to get to. But until we get to that point, we can put in place a special purpose vehicle where certain funds can be directed specifically to support strategically certain companies, so that we can increase our exports, create more jobs, earn more forex, and also earn more in terms of income and corporate taxes. I believe that is the way to go. And if you permit me, one other area I think we need to work more. I believe the fight against galamsey, we need to escalate it a notch higher. The 150 million that was given to NIMOS was woefully inadequate. If you really want to succeed, and the kind of work NIMOS is doing, I believe that this year, if you are doing mid-year budget, you need to consider topping it up for them and also encouraging more people to participate. Let's make use of our chiefs. I believe that we don't have to lose the fight against galamsey because that fight is a fight for survival. If you lose it, we are all dying. And that is the fact. And so, I believe for now, let me say this and I will come back.
Mr. Rashid Tanko, I mean, you said 2026 will be very good. The president says that in 2026 we shall accelerate and expand. But there are those who make the point that for most parts of, in fact, at least half of the year, will still be under the fund program. We may have our hands tied a bit. We may not have the free will to do things as we would want to do. We still have to be as disciplined as we have to do. Should we not approach it a bit more cautious than we are all anticipating, especially given how the last 12 months have been?
Akable, listening to the president yesterday, he made a very important statement, and I think Ghanaians must take note of it. Industry players should take note of that, especially Council is here. We have restored Ghana's credibility with our international partners. Yes, that one, nobody can contest that. There's now credibility. They have moved it from junk economy to B ratings. In fact, B+. Ghana, this is what he was saying yesterday. We have restored Ghana's credibility with our international partners and successfully completed the renegotiation of our debt obligation on terms that protect our sovereignty. Council was talking of the payment we recently made about monies being borrowed by our former administration.
Euro Bank.
We have managed to renegotiate these debt obligations with them. The credibility is back. The economy has been removed from that bowler economy to an economy that everybody now respects, international level. We have managed to bring down interest rates. For the first time, banks are chasing people to come for loans. They are chasing people. Because interest rate is down.
What's the rate now?
Currently, you know, the last time when the monetary policy committee sat down, we used to be around 28 when we came in. As we speak now,
18, yeah.
it's around 18, within 18.5 or so.
The TB rates are,
And it's coming down. You see, so it's making investment very beautiful for investors. That's why they are trooping into the country. You saw this thing that we brought in, that Nkoko Nkitinkiti. Nkoko Nkitinkiti. You see, now the NPP are running left and right, trying to to say that they had that plan too. But they were rubbishing it. When we started a campaign about the Nkoko, do you see the kind of trick it's doing for the Ghanaian economy, especially on the agri sector? The importation of this chicken thing that we have been doing. A lot of money is being wasted over there. A lot of dollars. Look, this year we had a lot of bumper harvest. To the extent even farmers were crying for people to come and buy their goods.
There was a glut.
Yes, because of the sustained policy on the agri sector. And these are some of the things we are doing, some of the little things government is doing to try to make sure that Ghanaians owe the economy so that we don't use a lot of hard currencies to go chasing these goods from abroad. Like my good friend has just mentioned. You see, when you bring products from abroad and they are cheaper, they would rather go in for that one. Are you getting it? But when we produce it here, and the more we produce, you see that the prices will come down. And in that case, Ghanaians will want to go in for the distance. For the last, in fact, very long time, I've never eaten foreign rice. Because the kind of rice they are producing in Ghana is so beautiful, very nice. Sometimes our problem was just packaging. How to package it nicely and all that. Some of the rice they bring abroad, they're not different from what we eat here. It's just the packaging, the processing. And so now that government is going into it, and so when His Excellency visited Kumasi about this poultry feed and all this kind of thing, he visited one of the company, interesting enough, an MPP man, a very strong MPP man. But you see, because our policy, we don't discriminate. We are all Ghanaians. Unlike them, they would have made sure that they kill the product and kill the factory. You saw the factories they brought down. At the banks, they collapsed banks and all this kind of thing because they were not MPP banks. They collapsed them. We came in and we thought that this gentleman is doing fantastic. Let's support him. The president was speaking to me and ordering the agri minister to make sure that they support the gentleman. You see, this is a president that we must trust, who believes in Ghanaian, that the Ghanaian can do it, no matter where you are coming from. We don't have an MPP Ghanaian, an NDC Ghanaian, or CPP Ghanaian, or PN. He said it yesterday. We are all Ghanaians. We are one. Okay? And you support everything. So this thing, prudent management of the economy will not have any difficulties exiting the IMF this year. Because we don't have large-sized government that will take a lot of resources to manage the government. We don't have that. And even if you look at what Atu Forsen is doing at the finance ministry, it has brought some physical discipline to a lot of agencies. I head an agency, and I know what we are doing over there. The kind of expenditure we did over the years, because of what Atu has put in place, you cannot go outside your ceiling.
But lots of the agencies, like some of your colleagues who talked to us, they said they want to do projects and they need money. And this particular year, they would expect to have the funds to do those projects. That's what I'm saying.
I've also head agency. The project that you are going to do must be need-based. Must be something that will be ultimately benefit the good people of Ghana.
High impact project.
Impactful one. Are you getting it? Not like they do this. I just get up because I'm the CEO and just feel that I'm going to do this project. Throw money into it and you see that what is it going to bring? I had the same issues with some of the people. You go and import this and procure a laptop that ran on 4 gigabytes. What are you going to use that laptop for? What are you going to use it for? This is a toy. You see, because you think that yes, there's money, like I can just go and procure. Okay, you go and bring it. You can't use it for anything. You go and bring tablets which cannot be used for anything, just toys, and they are dumped over there. Thousands of them. You see, that is useful, a useless kind of procurement that you have done. Although it's within the law, you have not broken any law in terms of procurement process and other. But what benefit is it to the state? Okay. So if Atu has put in some of these things and think that, look, bring in what you think you want to do, we'll analyze it. Your minister, everybody will analyze and think that this one is good for you, it's good for the people of Ghana. Go ahead with it. We give you authorization to go ahead and spend. That is why you didn't have any problem over the years, and everything went smoothly. And I can assure you, you see the big push. Government awarded 5 billion worth of projects without borrowing from outside. Is it not prudent? Is it not prudent? If we were these people, they would have mortgated a lot of our distance. The GET fund was being mortgated, road fund. That's why our roads are very bad. They mortgated and went and took money and shared it among themselves. You see, it took huge sums of money and went and dug big holes and said, because of God, go and put tablets inside, inside the hole, and said, clap for me. Even President Kufuor said it. You saw when they had an interview with him, he said, where the Amantiasi cry? I said, we are no more quiet, Amantiasi. I'm not saying it for it's our own former president. These are the kind of things. So we are not going to. So far, have you seen anybody say which policy the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has run, and somebody said that TRC project? They are all TRC projects. They are all things that people understand, and they are living with it. These are the things we are talking about. And so I can assure you, this year, we are not going to do anything. In fact, for the 1 year we have not been reckless, and I don't expect us this year to be reckless. We are going to make sure that projects that are beneficial to the good people of Ghana will pursue them. The road networks, in fact, a lot of them, youth are going to be employed. Especially, they are talking about the 24-hour economy. It's a process, not an event. That's one thing, NPP, I don't understand them. It's a process. You see, changing the whole Ghana economic structure from the 8-hour economy that we run to 24-hour economy is not a one-day thing. It's a process. We started it in 2024. Some agencies have started. DVLA, Ghana Port, go to Ghana Ports, Harbour, and see. They are doing 24-hour there. People are not clearing their goods in the night, evenings. That's why you go there, there's no more this traffic in that area. You see, because they are moving their goods and all this thing. It's a process. By the time we get to our 3rd year in office, a lot of the agencies would have been running 24-hour economy. Okay. And we assure them, look, we are not going to renege on that promise. We are implementing it. If you look at the budget as read last November, an allocation was made for that aspect, so that we continue to make sure that our youth get, in fact, beautiful jobs. As we are training them from the universities, we are not training them to come home and sit. We are training them to come and help, both in public sector and private sector. And that is why we are opening our space for the private sector, so that they can do it. Like my good counsel here talk about the torting. You see what the gentleman is doing at all?
Yeah, Edmond Combat.
Yeah, it's back. It's back to life. But they need more support.
Okay.
So that the private people who are bringing crude and all this and can still go there for refining. For a very long time, it has never refined. Now, until recently, that it has started. Some people wanted to privatize it. Like how they wanted to sell some hotels for them to themselves. Beautiful hotels, nice ones. They wanted to sell them to themselves. They even went ahead, start paying, and Ghanaian workers, they did well. In fact, in 2024, they nearly sold the hotel, La Palm Hotel and all this. Why MPP people like that? You see, so, and Tortu, that was their plan. They would have sold it to themselves.
And NIB.
Yes, that's what they were trying to do. They would have collapsed all this. Thank God, it's like God descended to Ghana in 2024 and just said that, look, you people do well and sack these guys and let them go so that you can have your country back.
Okay.
I see. So I can assure you, 2026 is we are in. It's going to be a beautiful year. Ghanaians are going to enjoy their fruit of labor, and especially the agric sector. A lot is going to happen there. Some of us have ventured into it last year. We are ongoing. It's a beautiful area that we think that the youth should also avail themselves into.
Okay.
Farming is a very beautiful area, and I can assure you, government is going to support a lot of them. People shouldn't look backyard. I remember, and at Champon, we're doing this Operation Feed Yourself, backyard gardens and all this kind of. It was very beautiful.
All right.
We have a lot of portions, our homes you do, and have a lot of fruits over there, and vegetables, and it was helping the economy in schools, secondary schools. In fact, when we were in secondary school, and then the training colleges, we had gardens where we were preparing farms. I remember one of our senior husbands, let me greet him, good morning, Mr. Moro, a tall boy, we used to call him tall boy in Tatco, Tamal Training College. Every morning, make sure that you go to your garden, go and water your plot. And we're using the vegetables to prepare food for us in the dining hall. Students, you go and have your own garden in the distance. You water it, make sure that you take care of it. And that's how we're learning agriculture, learning how to plant, learning how to take care of the crops and all this until harvest. And they'll harvest them and use it to prepare meals for you in the dining hall. Now, you don't teach children this. And that's why they find it difficult to go to farms. They don't even understand some of these things. They do online farming. They say online, they only see farming on social media. We should bring them to the farm itself. And then they will see the reality. Okay, and then when I was going to check my farm, I went with my son, my young boy. For a reason that he has never, when you got to the farm, you really saw that this is what we call farm. These are the things we do there. And other things. So you imbibe this kind of thing in them so that they will understand it better.
Okay.
So that we can own our economy. Otherwise, we'll continue importing things to the extent even fruits, vegetables, we have to import them. Doesn't make sense. Ghana is not a place that we should be importing vegetables. We have the land, arable land. Yes.
Let me come and wrap up with Mr. Jantua and Mr. Jantua, 2026 outlook. But I want you to stay on the energy sector for me and any other thing that you want to touch on. We are told that the energy sector is stabilizing according to the IMF. The government and the IPPs have agreed to restructure legacy debt, but the IMF says despite the marked improvements, the energy sector shortfall persists. We are told that throughout 2025, ECG payments to IPPs via the cash waterfall mechanism represented 48% of bills. So it is significantly higher than what was done in 2024. So there's been an improvement, but there's still a shortfall of about $500 million. And that has been assumed by the government either through legacy debt payments or fuel purchases. And so it does appear that that is a bit of a challenge. But largely throughout the year, power supply has been very, very stable. How should 2026 look, and if there are any other matters?
Continue. They cannot stop and start. It is going to continue. IPPs would work with the Ministry of Energy. Debts will be restructured as it's been restructured. The cash waterfall mechanism now is strong. ECG would not be told, go and buy refined petroleum products for X work that we need to do. So these things have been stabilized. And we see it in electricity supply, don't we? The major challenge is us. We can put everything right. The major challenge is Ghanaians. For us to be able to pay our bills and stop stealing electricity. That's where the major challenge is. Look, government can do as much as they can do if the people are not part and parcel of making sure that they can also do their part, we will be barking behind the wrong tree. So for me, where the energy sector is concerned, I know the energy minister is keen to make sure that power cuts are stopped, Dumso is stopped, and he will do anything to make sure that Ghanaians don't go back to the dark days. Now, Dumso is not only a legacy of President Mahama or President Akufo-Addo, it's a legacy of all presidents in this Fourth Republic. And if we can stop it, what does it do? It helps industrialization. And that is the key. Look, Ebo talked about interest rates. And I asked myself a question when he was talking. Why are interest rates high? What creates interest rates being high? One is inflation. When inflation is high, banks charge more interest to maintain their returns. Is inflation high?
No, it's low.
Are banks charging to maintain? They probably are, so we should look at that. The second one is risk. And that comes back to us.
The risk is what the banks mostly use to justify.
The NPLs, it comes back to us. Banks lend to borrowers with higher risk profiles, so they charge more interest. So we have to be able, when businesses go out there into the banks to get money, we've got to be able to pay back. Otherwise, it creates a challenge. Then market forces. Sometimes those market forces are out of our control. Supply and demand for credit influence rates. When demand is high, rates go up. So we should be able to find mechanisms when market forces are pressing on our economy to relieve the people. But those market forces should be such that it's not prolonged. When it gets prolonged, it creates challenges for us. Then central bank rates. If the Bank of Ghana raises its policy rate, commercial banks often follow suit. That is the key bit. How can central bank keep its rates low? What are the mechanisms that help central bank to keep its rates low? For me, so far as I can see, I think the Government Bank of Ghana has done phenomenally well.
Yeah, he has.
And his whole body language with the people, you can see he's ready to share. And the private sector should take advantage of it. Then operating costs of banks, operational costs can drive up interest rates. So we've got to look at these operational costs and what it is. Yes, banks need to make profit, but not super extra normal profits. But above all this, we have to be able to encourage local businesses. At the present moment in Ghana, a lot of the economy is in the hands of foreigners. Name it. The Malcolms of this world, the what of this world, is all MTN of this world, telecom sector. It's all in the hands of Ghanaians. We are getting to a stage. Yesterday, I saw a new China Mall being opened just opposite Action Chapel. And I asked myself, why China Mall and not Ghana Mall? We've got to now take this, move forward, and help Ghanaian businesses. One thing Ghanaian businesses aren't good at doing is to work together. All these others, they work together. Go to Malcolm, third generation. And they are expanding. Where's Ghana's GNTC? That used to be there. We've got to be able to make sure that local businesses are profitable. And we don't stay as table stop, and we don't stay as kiosk. We stay as manufacturing. I also think that government should quickly arrest capital flight with regards to imports. So the sugar factory, government should quickly go in there. I see they're doing something about poultry. We quickly go in there. Cocoa, quickly go in there. Juicers, quickly go in there. Where we start producing it here. Things like nails that we import, quickly go in there. Let's create businesses for Ghanaians. And when the president is traveling, I hope to see this year, when president is traveling to other countries, put party people aside and take businessmen. Take businessmen. Look, recently, and computer, you would tell me, Have we not gone to buy 300 buses from Egypt? True or false?
Yeah.
We have. Do we not have new plan here? Why aren't we looking at a situation like President Akufo-Addo did when Merkel came here? She came with business people. They started opening and assembling cars in Ghana. Why don't we do that for buses that affect the public? That then now controls traffic. Once we have assembling of buses here, we can get more buses on our roads. And most importantly, we then move into rail, gradual process. And this is why I say we need a plan. These are type of the things I'm talking about where development plan brings into being. But we have to energize the Ghanaian business. We have to. Once we energize the Ghanaian business, it comes into our hands. Our banks have more money in there. Because the city is strengthening, isn't it? Where is it in the world today? It's one of the strongest currencies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Strongest currencies.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the Ghanaian business. The AGI, and I'm part of the AGI, we are trying our possible best to make sure that Ghanaian businesses are part and parcel of any good thing that is happening in this country. Because we have to. And we can only do that if we look at the cost of production, as Ebo said. Cost of production is high. What are some things of cost of production? Transportation, fuel, electricity, cost of raw materials, availability of raw materials. All these things have to come in a plan.
Okay.
And it's a gradual process. I'm hoping and I'm sure that by the time President Mahama leaves in 2028, some of these things would have been fomented for the next government to take over and run with.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
If you permit
briefly.
me. You see, I think another issue, another mistake we don't expect this government to repeat is the issue of corruption.
No, it's not corruption. No. It's stealing.
Yeah. Okay. Stealing. I think stealing is a better word now.
You don't expect stealing to take place.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. You see, and let me say this: if Ora is going to be successful, it will go beyond what the executive will do. If judiciary doesn't help, if cases are still allowed to run 5, 4, 6 years in court, how many corruption cases can we prosecute in 10 years? So, Chief Justice, please, we beg you, you and your people, within 1 year, 6 months, let's fast adjudication of corruption cases. 6 months, 8 months, we clear the case.
It's got to do with evidence. So.
Oh, yes.
Having credible evidence to take to court to make sure you win.
You see,
and sometimes gathering that evidence.
But you see, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't to live in a country where people easily steal. But when it comes to recovery or punishment, then it takes years.
No, it's evidence.
No, I'm saying that.
You know how they how they cover their wrongs?
No. If the court, let me tell you, if the court want to be serious, 6 months they can prosecute cases. If the court, if you really want to fight corruption and succeed, 6 months you'll be able to finish. It is doable.
All right.
I mean, then we should all throw our hands in despair and go to sleep.
All right.
I'm saying that corruption cases, because you look at the number of cases we have in this country. If the cases are going to run even 2, 3 years, how many of them can we prosecute in court?
Let's start with the Auditor General.
Well, government. What government is doing, we want to make it a very how do we even know what the word to use? In the sense that this time, it's not about only prosecuting you. It's about recovering everything that you have used the corrupt proceeds to acquire. So that when you go and cool off in the prison and you come out and start ground zero. You get what I'm saying?
You come back and
enjoy anything. You come back. That's what they have been doing.
That is why I'm saying that the success of Ora depends more on the judiciary even than the executive.
We are keeping our Attorney General is on top of his business.
Yes, let's be serious.
The Attorney General is on top of his business. And I can assure you, people are going to be busy this year. You see, this year, 2026,
we'll be busy,
they will be busy for corrupt people.
And NABCO, Mr. President, government, NAPCO.
Remind me.
NAPCO is akin to national service.
I'm not
the same ghost names. If you go to NAPCO, you find them there.
Okay.
Please, NAPCO.
I'm not sure.
NAPCO.
I'm not sure whether we had it. We have it in our laws, but in the UK, there was a law that double jeopardy. I'm not sure whether they have double jeopardy.
Yeah, we have it here. I mean, we have it here.
But the UK have been able to do away with double jeopardy, and it has been retrogressive. So if you committed a crime 10, 15 years back, you can be prosecuted. Let's do away with double jeopardy and prosecute people 10 years behind who have done wrong. That is how we can.
In our case, unless if we've not been prosecuted, then we can go after you. But if we've prosecuted you and we had the opportunity to prosecute you for the other offense and we don't, that's where I was kicking.
But if there's no evidence to show that what you did was wrong, you should go back.
Of course, we'll come back.
Yes. If you have double jeopardy, we should look at double jeopardy and stop it.
That's all time would allow us for the discussion segment this morning. My guest this morning have been Ebo Bachman, Deputy Communications Director, United Party. Kwame Jantwa is a private legal practitioner and member of the Convention People's Party. Sofo Tanko Rashid Computer is the CEO of the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications. Shadrach says I should especially thank all of you for always staying with us.
This morning,
don't worry, he's just at the back. For starting the year with us. We know that this period we are all still trying to get out of the festive.
Official part to all of you.
Look at
you. But yes, we are taking a quick break. Stay tuned in right here on NewDay. There's a lot more to talk about here. We have sports and we have another big interesting conversation about mental health and other issues we'll discuss here on the show. Stay tuned in.